The Alpha King did not mean to stop. He had crossed 100 pack borders in his lifetime, crushed rebellions, ended bloodlines, and left cities kneeling in silence. Blackridge was supposed to be nothing more than another stop before dawn. Then he heard her heartbeat. Not racing, not strong, broken. Cale Draven slowed, silver eyes narrowing as the sound reached him through stone and shadow. Wolves gathered behind him, restless, sensing what he did not yet understand. Pain always had a voice. This one whispered instead of screamed. He turned. At the edge of the courtyard stood a girl with blood on her sleeve and fear in her eyes. She was trying, and failing, to hide. The moon exposed bruises too old to be accidents, scars too deliberate to be forgiven. She did not bow. She did not run. She simply endured. Something savage twisted in Cale's chest. He stepped toward her, the ground trembling with each move, and lifted her chin with 2 fingers. The moment his skin touched hers, his wolf roared in fury and recognition. "Who hurt you?" he whispered. The question was soft, the promise behind it was not. Because by morning, the pack would learn a brutal truth. The most dangerous thing in the world was not an Alpha King's wrath. But what happened when he chose to protect a broken girl? The girl who bled silence the night the Alpha King returned. The moon was split in half by clouds, as if the sky itself had been wounded. Illyra felt it before she heard it, a pressure in her chest, a low hum in her bones, the ancient call of an alpha crossing the pack boundary. She dropped the bucket. Water spilled across the frozen dirt, soaking the hem of her thin dress, but Illyra didn't bend to pick it up. Her fingers curled instead, instinct, fear, memory. Every wolf in Blackridge felt the arrival differently. The warriors felt excitement. The elders felt relief. Illyra felt terror, because powerful wolves always brought blood with them. She turned slowly. Torches lit the courtyard, fire bending in the wind as a massive shadow stepped through the iron gates. He was taller than any man she had ever seen, broad shoulders wrapped in a dark cloak, marked with silver runes of dominance. His presence silenced the pack in a single breath. Alpha King Cale Draven, the ruler of the Northern Realms. The wolf who had ended wars, the male no one dared lie to, his eyes silver-edged with frost, swept over the gathered pack like blades. Warriors bowed, betas dropped to one knee. Even the cruel packmaster lowered his head. Illyra did neither. Not because she was brave, because her body wouldn't move. Her wrists still bore faint scars hidden beneath cloth. Her back ached with old pain that never truly healed. Survival had taught her one rule, *, don't draw attention, *. But fate had never listened to her rules. Cale's gaze stopped, locked on her. The world shrank to the distance between them. One step, then another. Each footfall shook the ground beneath Illyra's bare feet. She could smell him now. Pine, iron, storm, soaked earth. Power, ancient and overwhelming, he stood before her, too close. Illyra dropped her eyes to the dirt. That was when he heard it. Her heartbeat, not fast, not panicked, broken. Cale frowned. Wolves could hear lies in heartbeats. Fear sang loudly. Desire trembled. Guilt stumbled. But hers limped. He crouched slightly, lowering himself so their heights nearly matched. The Alpha King of all realms bending before a pack servant girl. The courtyard held its breath. "Look at me," he said quietly. His voice wasn't cruel. That was worse. Illyra obeyed. Moonlight struck her face, revealing a bruise not yet faded along her jaw, yellowed with age. Another faint shadow beneath her eye. Her lips were pale, too pale for a wolf. Cale's pupils flared. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. 2 fingers lifted her chin. The instant his skin touched hers, something snapped inside him. A surge of rage so violent his wolf roared against his ribs. Marks, not mating marks, not training scars. These were punishments. His hand fell away, but his eyes burned brighter. "Who hurt you?" he whispered. Not demanded, not growled, whispered. Illyra's throat tightened. No one had ever asked her that, not once. Pain was expected. Endured, silent, her lips parted. Nothing came out. Behind them, the packmaster shifted nervously. "Alpha King, the girl is clumsy. She causes trouble. Kale stood, the air cracked, silence, one word. The command of a true alpha. The packmaster fell back as if struck, crashing to his knees, gasping. Kale turned back to Alara. "Come with me," he said, her eyes widened. I can't. Why?" She swallowed. "I belong to the pack." Kale smiled. It was not kind, no, he said softly. "You belong to no one." He removed his cloak and draped it around her shoulders. Warmth flooded her instantly, carrying his scent. The pack stared in shock. The Alpha King straightened, voice carrying across the courtyard like a death sentence. A lock down the borders, murmurs rippled. Anyone who laid a hand on her without her consent. Kale continued, eyes glowing silver, will not see the sun rise. Alara's breath hitched. "Alpha King," the elder stammered, "there are many." Kale's gaze turned lethal. "Then dawn will be quiet." Thunder rolled overhead, though the sky was clear. Kale looked down at Alara one last time, his voice gentle again, dangerously so. "By morning," he said, "your pain will be answered." Far away, wolves began to howl. Not in celebration, in fear. The night the wolves chose death, the first scream split the darkness just after midnight. Alara woke with a violent gasp, heart hammering as if it were trying to escape her chest. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. The bed beneath her was too soft, the air too warm, the scent his scent, wrapped around her like a shield. Pine, frost, power, she sat up. The chamber was enormous, carved from black stone and lit by silver runes etched into the walls. Furs covered the floor, a fire burned low in the hearth. This was no servant's room, this was an alpha's. Another scream echoed, cut short. Alara's hands began to shake. He had meant it. Kale stood on the balcony outside, bare, chested despite the cold moonlight painting his skin in silver scars of battle. His wolf prowled just beneath the surface, eyes glowing, lips pulled back in a silent snarl. Below, Blackridge burned. Torches raced through the pack like falling stars. Doors were kicked open. Howls of rage and terror tangled in the night air. Kale didn't move. He listened, every heartbeat, every lie, every attempt to flee. Bader Rune appeared behind him, blood already staining his blade. "We found the first three," they begged. Kale's jaw tightened. Did they deny it? No. Good. Kale's voice was ice. "Continue." Rune hesitated. "Alpha, the girl. She can hear it." Kale's gaze flicked toward the chamber door where Alara stood frozen, pale as moonlight. Their eyes met, something twisted in his chest. He hadn't intended for her to witness this. Violence was not for her. It never should have been, but rage had drowned everything else. Kale turned fully to her, crossing the distance in 3 strides. He dropped to one knee before her again, King kneeling to a broken girl. "I should have taken you farther," he said quietly. Alara swallowed. "They're dying. Yes, for me." His eyes softened, and that terrified her more than his fury. "For justice," her voice trembled. "If half the pack is guilty, then half the pack chose their fate." He interrupted. She flinched. Kale noticed, his hands clenched. "Did you think I would let them live?" he asked softly. "After seeing what they turned you into." Alara shook her head slowly. "I didn't think anyone would care." That shattered him. His wolf slammed against his ribs, howling in grief and rage. Kale exhaled sharply, pressing his forehead briefly to her stomach like a vow sworn in silence. "I care," he said. Another scream ended abruptly outside. Alara's knees gave out. Kale caught her instantly, lifting her as if she weighed nothing. He carried her to the bed and sat beside her, keeping her wrapped in his cloak. "Look at me," he said. She did. "Tonight is ugly," he continued, "but it ends something that should have ended long ago." Her lips parted. What if some of them were forced? Kale stilled. That question mattered. He turned sharply toward the door. "Rune," the beta appeared instantly. "Change of command," Kale said. "Any who acted under threat or order, spare them. Anyone who enjoyed it, who returned more than once." Rune's smile was grim. "Dead, yes." Rune vanished into the night. Alara stared at Kale, shock and confusion battling in her eyes. "You changed your mind, I changed my scope," he corrected, "because you reminded me what justice actually is." Silence stretched between them. Then softly, why me? Alara asked. Kale looked at her like the answer terrified him. Because when I touched you, he said, voice low, my wolf recognized you. Her breath caught. Recognized to how? His thumb brushed her wrist, right over the scar, like home. The words hung heavy in the air. Before she could respond, a horn sounded outside, long, low, final. Rune returned, face grim, blade dripping. It's done, he said. Kale closed his eyes. By morning, half the pack was dead. Alara curled inward, shaking. Kale did something no Alpha King had done in centuries. He lay down beside her, not touching, just close enough to guard her dreams. You are safe. He murmured into the dark, but fate was already moving, because safety was never meant to last. And Alara's scars were not the only secret written on her skin. The marks that should not exist morning came without mercy. Sunlight crept through the tall windows of the Alpha King's chamber, pale and cold, illuminating the aftermath of the night. Smoke still curled faintly in the air. The pack was silent, too silent. No morning howls, no laughter. No training calls, only the weight of death. Alara woke slowly, warmth surrounding her. For a terrifying second, she thought she had imagined everything. The screams, the blood, the Alpha King kneeling before her. Then she felt his presence. Kale lay on the floor beside the bed, his broad frame stretched out like a sentinel who had never slept. One arm rested against the bed, close enough that his fingers brushed the edge of the furs, guarding. Her chest tightened. No one had ever stayed. She sat up, the cloak slipping from her shoulders. The movement drew Kale instantly awake. His eyes snapped open, silver flashing before softening when he saw her. You're awake, he said quietly. She nodded. I didn't mean to disturb you. You didn't. He rose smoothly to his feet. Did you sleep? Yes, she answered, and then frowned. I think, she **, deeply, without nightmares, that alone frightened her. Kale studied her for a long moment, then turned toward the basin of water near the fire. You're injured, he said, more than what I saw last night. Alara stiffened. I'm fine. He didn't argue. He never raised his voice. May I look? He asked instead. The question hit her harder than any command. May I? Her fingers twisted in the edge of the cloak. Saying no would be easier, safer. But something in his eyes, patience, restraint, fury carefully leashed, made lying impossible. She nodded once. Kale approached slowly. Turn around. She did. His hands were warm as he gently lifted the fabric at her shoulders, revealing her back inch by inch. He froze. There were scars, old ones, new ones, overlapping in cruel patterns. Claw marks that had healed crookedly. Burns from silver chains, but beneath them all, etched deep into her skin like a brand, symbols, ancient. Precise, deliberate. Kale's breath left him in a sharp exhale. No, he whispered. Alara's voice trembled. You know them, yes. His hands hovered, not touching, as if afraid the marks might burn him. That's impossible, he muttered. They were erased centuries ago. What are they? She asked. Kale straightened slowly, face drained of color. Those are binding runes. Her stomach dropped. Binding, what does that mean? They are used to shackle an alpha bloodline, he said, each word heavy. To break a wolf's power, to turn them into property. Alara's knees weakened. She gripped the bed. But I'm not an alpha. Kale's eyes met hers. That's where you're wrong. Silence thundered between them. You carry alpha blood, he continued, ancient blood, older than mine. She shook her head violently. No, I would feel it. I would. You don't, he said gently, because they stole it from you. Her breathing turned shallow. Memories flashed weakness, pain during full moons, the way other wolves always felt louder. Who would do this? She whispered. Kale's jaw clenched. Someone who feared you. A knock echoed at the door. Bader Rune entered, stopping short when he saw Kale's expression. Alpha, there's something you need to see. Kale didn't turn away from Alara. Say it. The dead, Rune said carefully. Several of them had fresh rune ink on their hands. Same markings as... His eyes flicked to Alara's back and widened. As hers, Kale's wolf roared. They marked her. Kale growled again and again. Alara wrapped her arms around herself. I didn't know. I swear. I know. Kale said immediately. Rune swallowed. There's more. The elders are demanding answers. They claim the girl. Kale turned then. The airbent is a relic, Rune finished weakly. Kale's eyes blazed. She is under my protection. Any who speak of her as an object will join the dead. Rune bowed and retreated. Illyra's voice was barely a whisper. What happens now? Kale faced her, expression solemn. Now, he said, I break the bindings. Her eyes widened in fear. You said they were ancient, yes, and dangerous, yes. What if it kills me? Kale stepped closer, his forehead resting gently against hers. Then I will tear the world apart to bring you back. Her breath hitched, and if it doesn't, she asked. His lips brushed her temple, barely there, not a claim, a promise. Then the Pax will kneel, he said to their true queen. Outside, the wind howled, because the runes on Illyra's back had begun to glow. The ritual that devours kings, the runes ignited at sunset. Not with fire, but with light. Illyra screamed as silver veins flared across her back, the ancient symbols burning through scar tissue as if it were never there. Kale caught her before she collapsed, his arms locking around her as her body arched in pain. Easy, he murmured fiercely. I've got you, she cried out again, claws tearing through the furs beneath her. Her wolf, long silenced, began to stir for the first time in her life. Not howling, not raging, awakening. Kale carried her into the ritual chamber beneath the keep, a place carved into the mountain itself. The walls were etched with history, names of alphas who had entered and never left. Rune stood at the entrance, pale. Alpha, once you start, there is no stopping. Kale didn't look back, locked the doors. The stone gates slammed shut. The circle waited. Silver dust marked the floor in precise patterns. Candles burned with blue flame. At the center lay the heartstone, a crystal formed from the first alpha's blood. Kale laid Illyra down within the circle and stripped his cloak away, bearing the mating scars on his chest. His wolf pushed hard now, sensing what was coming. Illyra, he said quietly, cupping her face, listen to me. Her vision blurred, but she focused on him. Always him. These runes are feeding on your suppressed power. He continued to break them. I have to replace what they stole. Her lips trembled. With what? With mine. Rune's sharp inhale echoed. Alpha. Kale cut him off. If I die, the Northern Council will recognize her claim. Illyra's eyes widened in horror. No, I won't let you. You don't get to choose this alone, he said gently. Neither do I. He pressed his forehead to hers, breathing her in like a final prayer. Stay with me, she whispered. I intend to, he replied. Kale stepped into the circle. The moment his foot crossed the line, the chamber exploded with force. Wind slammed outward, candles guttered, the heartstone pulsed violently. Kale roared. His wolf surged forward, tearing through his veins as power poured from him into Illyra. Silver light streamed from his chest, wrapping around her like chains made of stars. Illyra screamed again, but this time her scream changed. It deepened. Strength flooded her limbs. Her spine arched as her wolf finally broke free, eyes blazing gold in the reflection of the crystal. The runes fought back. Blood streamed down Kale's nose. His knees buckled, but he refused to fall. Not her, he growled. Take me instead. The chamber shook. Illyra's eyes snapped open fully, no longer dull, no longer dim. Ancient, commanding, stop, she said. The word wasn't loud, but the ritual froze. Kale looked up in shock as Illyra rose within the circle, power radiating from her in waves. The runes cracked, splintering like shattered glass across her skin. She turned to him. Enough, she whispered, and the bindings asterisk died asterisk. The light imploded. Kale collapsed. Illyra caught him. The heartstone shattered. Silence slammed into the chamber. For a terrifying second, Kale didn't breathe. Illyra, Rune whispered. She pressed her hand to Kale's chest. Come back, she commanded, not begged. His heart slammed hard beneath her palm. Kale gasped, eyes flying open. Their gazes locked. Something asterisk clicked asterisk. The bond snapped into place, violent, undeniable, complete. Kale sucked in a sharp breath. Mate. The word echoed through the mountain. Illyra trembled not in fear, but in recognition. Her wolf surged forward, pressing against his. Yes, she breathed. Above them, every wolf in the territory fell to their knees as a new power rolled across the land. The Alpha King lived, but he no longer ruled alone, because the true queen had risen, and the packs would not accept her without blood.